Hello students. In the previous class we have discussed this transport factor. As I already said, transport factor is a measure of the efficient transportation of carriers through base. What are the different currents passing through the base? So the total current from emitter to collector is IPC and from emitter to base will be the IPE. Okay. This IPE current ends up in base, and from that base the whole current is traveling to the collector. So this is called the total current IPC. IPC, transportation of carriers through base, IPC upon IPE. So let me rewrite here. This alpha T or beta star is approaches to 1, is approaches to 1, not less than 1. So if base width of the transistor is much more less than the diffusion length, then beta star will approach us to 1. Now in the same way we can even write some more points here. Due to recombination, due to recombinations, what do you mean by recombinations? As I already said, this point when holes enter the base, this point. Okay. If you don't understand that recombinations, please get back to the first video. You can easily get that with in the channel. Okay. Due to recombinations, base region losses its electron. Base region losses its electrons. Hence compensating electrons should be provided to the base. Hence compensating electrons should be provided to the base from external battery, from external battery, that is what? Nothing but VEB. From VEB to maintain the base region neutral. To maintain the base region neutral. Hope this point is clear. For example, if you take okay, now if you observe, this is what P, N and P. If you observe this point P and P, what is this current is called? Traveling from this emitter, base and collector. From this P region, it is reaching from emitter to base. This is called IPE. And once it is reaching to the base, from that base the transportation of carriers is again transferring from base to collector. This is called IPC. Okay, it is called IPC. The extra electrons, because base is lightly doped, emitter is heavily doped, collector is moderately doped. Okay, because of this lightly doped base, we have to give extra electrons to the extra electrons. Current always travels from positive to negative. Electrons are travels from negative to positive. So extra electrons will be what? Provided to the base. Extra electrons should be what? Provided to the base. That extra electrons will be what? Taken care by this. Okay. So the resultant current will be nothing but IPE. Let me change the ink here. IPE minus IPC. Okay. Hope that point is clear to everyone. So this is nothing but the collector base junction. This is what VCB. This is what VEB. So let me write here the compensating electrons which flow into the base. The compensating electrons which flow into the base, produce a current, as you can see here, this IPE minus IPC produce a current of IPE minus IPC. Okay, is called a recombination current. Is called a recombination current. Recombination current, and it constitutes base current. It constitutes base current. Okay. Now, if compensating electrons flow into base, flow into the base, is increased. If the compensating flow of electrons is increased, then base becomes negative. Base becomes negative and attracts greater number of holes from emitter, and attracts greater number of holes present in the emitter. Attracts the greater number of holes from emitter, thereby hole flow from emitter to collector increases. Whole current flow from emitter to collector is increased if we increase the compensating electrons. Compensating electrons flow, that is what this one, compensating electrons flow, then this emitter to collector injection current is more. Whole current should be what? More. If we increase this current, if we feed more number of electrons from this base, then this current will be what? More into the collector junction. Whole current is more into the collector junction. Hope this point is clear to everyone. Similarly, if electrons flow into base is reduced. If electrons flow into the base, that is compensating electrons is reduced, then base becomes positive. Base becomes positive means thereby whole flow from emitter to collector, whole flow from emitter to collector will be decreasing. Thus electron flow into base or base current IB controls the carrier's flow, controls the carriers means holes or electrons. So these are the charge carriers. IB controls the carriers flow from emitter to collector. Therefore, BJT is called current controlled device. Okay, you have to understand this point. Most of them don't know why the BJT is called current control device. Why? Because this IB base controls the flow of charge from carriers from emitter to collector. If we increase the combinational electrons into base, why BJT is called current control device? Because of these 2 points. You just understand these points. Sorry, these 2 points. Okay. These 2 are very important to understand why BJT is called current controlled device. Base is the only region, base current. Because of the base current, we can increase or decrease the whole flow from emitter to collector. Next point is will be due to reverse voltage VCB or VBC, a small current IC naught also flows through the collector, collector junction, that is JC, collector junction JC. IC naught is nothing but reverse saturation current of collector junction. Reverse saturation current of collector junction. Okay, that implies if we take these 2 points, okay, if we take these 2 points, as I already mentioned, the flow of current from this to this, IPC. This is what? IPC. This current is called IPC. Remember this point, IPC. And what is the small flow of current? Reverse saturation current is nothing but IC naught. Okay, IC naught. This will be what? IC. And what is this point will be what? VCB. Oh, okay. For example, using KCL, using KCL. What do you mean by this one? IPC plus IC naught. IPC plus IC naught is nothing but the total IC. IPC, IC naught plus IPC. Yes or no? Both will be what reaching to this point only. This will be what? IC. If you apply KCL at this junction, KCL at that junction, IPC plus IC naught is equal to what? IC. IPC is nothing but the majority charge carrier. Majority charge carrier. Whereas IC naught is nothing but the minority carrier current. Majority charge carrier current. This will be what? Minority charge carrier current. What do you mean by this? Therefore, BJT is a bipolar. Therefore, BJT is a bipolar because majority and minority. Because of what? Because of this majority and minority. Both. Hope this point is clear. So in a BJT, collector current is a combination of both majority and minority carriers currents. Hence BJT is a bipolar device. From this point you can understand that point. Okay. In a PNP transistor, movement of holes through base are due to the concentration difference between the hole current through base. Hole current through a base is a diffusion current. Hole current through a base is what? Diffusion current. That is if you observe this these points, okay, if you observe this point, so in a PNP transistor, the movement of holes through base, movement of holes through base are due to concentration difference, therefore hole movement, hole current through base, is a diffusion current. Hole current through base is a diffusion current. Okay, that is nothing but IPC. That is holes drift through emitter and diffuse through base. So this is nothing but holes drift through emitter means this is nothing but this current is due to the repulsion of charges. You have to understand the concept here. Repulsion. This is due to the repulsion, and this is due to diffuse through B means this is nothing but the concentration difference. This is nothing but the concentration difference. Okay, hope you understand that point. If you understand, okay, this INE. Okay, before that, let me take the majority current. This is what the IPE. This is nothing but the IPC. Yes or no? Then what is this one? This current is nothing but the IPC minus. Yes. What is the point? What do you have mentioned here? IPE minus IPC. You can see this point. IPE minus IPC. Yes or no? This is nothing but IPE minus IPC. Okay. What is this current? This another current is nothing but we have also the INE. Yes or no? INE. IPE is the majority means minority will be INE. Yes or no? This will be from base to emitter. This INE is from always from base to emitter. Remember this. You can observe with the different thing. Blue ink. Blue ink current is the current from base to emitter. This is what minority. IPE is the majority. Okay. And another current is like reverse current. That is what IC naught. IC naught. Okay. Reverse saturation current. So using KCL, what is this current is? Nothing but IB. This current is IB. Now if you apply KCL at base, if you apply KCL at this base, then what you get? That implies base current is leaving. What are the incoming currents we can write here? IPE minus INE. Okay, we can even write this is what the majority, this will be what? Minority. Plus INE minus IC naught. Okay. This will be the total equation. This will be the total equation. So thereby IB is equal to what? IPE minus IPC.